how are you? I hope you're good. I'm here with a very exciting tag, or I think it's exciting. I also pulled out my old lighting equipment to see if I can possibly make filming in the darkness work. Because in my old flat I didn't have enough space to set up my lights other than them being literally in my face. Granted, I don't currently have furniture in this room, so it's a bit easier. We'll see how it goes, but it would be really lovely if it was an option. I'm just saying that if something looks iffy or weird, sorry. I am here with a book tag, and I feel like it's been a while, but it probably hasn't been that long since I've done a book tag, but this one is extra special because it's created by my dear friend Jess from Jess Reads Books. She's created this tag that I think is really fun. I've just sat down to pick some answers, and I tried to pick the books that I don't talk about as much, at least some of them, and it was really fun to do. So the tag is called, I think it's just called the trope tag. You'll know from the title, and let me get my photo. So I got the questions out and I have my answers here, so if I look down, it's one of these. But yeah, I will leave her channel down below. You should definitely check her out. Basically what she's done is take a trope and then twist it into a question. So the first trope was hopelessly devoted, and this is a person that I think keeps seeking another person romantically. The prompt is name 2 characters from separate series that you ship. So for this one I actually went with something very unexpected even for myself, because I'm not a big shipper. I don't really ship characters very strongly or often, or I ship something but I don't like feel super extra about it. Actually realized I forgot to take one. Where are you? So I have a pile of books here on some boxes, and it's literally the bottom one. No! Oh well. So my first ship, as I said, very unexpected to myself as well as to you probably. That is the main character from The Name of the Wind, my favorite book, Quoth. He's very confident and sort of like cheeky. The person that he pursues is always somewhat like unavailable. I don't really like her, but then I thought like who could I ship him with? And then for some reason I really thought about Mara from this comic. So this is a comic by Brian Wood, Ming Doyle, Jordi Belair and Clayton Cowles, and the main character in here is very different from people that she's surrounded by, and she's just so like distant. I feel like these two could really work, and it's the most random pairing that I've ever like paired in my mind, but I officially ship them now. I think a lot of people don't appreciate this comic a lot, but I absolutely loved it. I thought the meaning behind it was brilliant. It really makes you question the whole, especially like American military servicing, and I know it's a touchy subject, so I can see why people would not like it, but I adored it. I think it was really interesting, and the art is beautiful, and it's like beautiful. And The Name of the Wind is my favorite book, and it's, I think in short, it's like Harry Potter for adults. It's not entirely accurate, but in short, because there's also a university and you know. But yeah, those 2 characters, very unexpected, but I ship them. Question number 2, or trope number 2, is damsel in distress, and it is to name a female main character who didn't need a man to complete her. The opposite of damsel in distress. So even though you could go for both females in the series, I went for Nina from Six of Crows. I love the second book in this so much. I also enjoyed Six of Crows, but the second one was just on another level. And Nina is a person who, yes, has an interest in men and pursues men and has had quite a few men, but she doesn't need them. She doesn't need them as a component to her. It's just something that she wants instead of needs. So I just love her character, and you could say similar things for Inej, but I feel like Nina fits it a little bit better. She is very confident, especially in that scene, but she's also like shy and vulnerable, but in a very much, you know, I know myself and I know what is up kind of way. And I think she's a very wholesome character, and I absolutely loved it. And Six of Crows is this like heist story about a very diverse group of people, and it's all sorts of badassery, and I highly recommend, because every character, especially in the second book, is only a duology, and especially in the second book everything just ties in so well, and there's parents involved in the second one. It is just so good. Number 3 is Love at First Sight. Name your OTP, which is one true pairing. Again, I'm not a person who pairs people, or characters rather, that much, but so it was a little bit of a toughie to come up with one. So I don't really feel super strong about this, but if I had to choose one, this would definitely be at least in the top 5 or something, and that is the Night Circus. So Marcus and Celia, those are two main characters that sort of were put by their, I want to say, mentor, supervisors type of people into this competition that they were not aware was a competition to begin with, but they're supposed to compete between each other, and they have these magical abilities, and this is all in Night Circus, but they're obviously clever enough to figure out that they're being manipulated, and they go way against the stream of what they're expected to do. And I really shipped them. I was rooting for them all the time, and it's a... oh, what is happening? It's a beautiful book. Read it. Number 4 is Mental Illness, and this is mental illness as a quirk, which is the trope that people hate. To counter that, we need to name a book that represented mental health accurately or well. Obviously, what's true for one person might be completely different for another one, so it's hard to say that, oh yes, this definitely was done really well. But in my opinion, I have 2 books. Eliza and Her Monsters always comes to mind because the main character has anxiety, and that is what I have, and I felt like it was really not over the top and really not romanticized of what was happening to her. This is about a girl who runs this really famous online comic, and we're talking massive fandom like Harry Potter, but she does it anonymously because she's very anxious, and she meets this guy that knows the comics and he's a massive fan but doesn't know that she runs them, and you can see where this is going. There are some bits that really struck me because they weren't written over the top, specific enough that you would really feel it, especially if you experience something like that. Also touches upon depression, and I just thought it was really well done, and it was also funny in other parts, and I don't know, I just flew through this book. That being said, I really did not like her other book, which was called Made You Up. I DNF'd it in like 25 pages because I felt like it was a Hollywood version of schizophrenia, and I really did not appreciate it. I felt like there were so many loopholes in there. I know some people really like it, and I know some people really relate it, which is, you know, brilliant. I just personally did not like that at all. And another one I want to really quickly mention is Turtles All the Way Down. Again, I felt like it was really well done because you felt so uncomfortable during the scenes that she was experiencing the OCD kicking in, which is what you're supposed to do. It's not supposed to be something that's, you know, cool and edgy. It's uncomfortable, it's terrifying, you want to stop reading, you know, and I felt that. I thankfully do not suffer from OCD, but I felt like that is how you want the reader to feel like when reading about something like that, you know? Number 5 is The Chosen One, and for this one is name a main character that almost or did ruin a series for you or a book. So for this one, I will go with Leah on the offbeat. I know this is a character beloved by a lot of people, but also sort of disliked by a lot of people, and I am definitely in the latter. I could not stand this person. This person was mean to their friends. It was just, oh, every single thing I just disliked about this character. As someone who's always suffered with body image and weight, I really wanted to relate to her. I really did, but I so didn't. She was just the definition of angst, and if that was addressed, that would be great, but it didn't. And her personality changed like miraculously in the 3 last pages, and all of it was because of a love interest, and that was just a big no-no for me. Like the whole book, I was just hoping for some sort of redemption or story arc, but I didn't get any, and I despised the character. Like, she was so rude to her friends and parents, and for no reason. She was just so... ooh, no. Number 6 is Friends to Lovers, a duo that went from friendship goals to relationship goals, and boy, that was hard. I don't really have a lot of books that went from like friendship to love. It's usually almost always either like love to hate to love, sorry, or just love, you know, doesn't start with the friendship other than like Ron and Hermione from Harry Potter, but I wanted to avoid that one. And I have to go ahead and say the same thing that Jess said, and that is Rosemary and Sussex. That is from The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by one of my absolute favorite authors, Becky Chambers, that I was so lucky to meet at Yale this year. She was lovely. This is one of my absolute favorite books as it is. I didn't necessarily feel super attached to both of these characters together, but I did feel like it was really a mature way of being together. It was just a very interesting pairing, but it was from friendship to lovers, so it fits the prompt. I didn't really feel much towards Rosemary throughout the series, but I do absolutely love Sussex and literally every other character as well. So, and I just felt like the way they handled their relationship, because it's very unusual because it's interspecies, was really, really beautiful, and you could feel them growing as people through it, so that is a plus. Number 7 is Amnesia. Name a book you would forget for one reason or another. So it could be forget because you don't want to, forget because you wanted to like not waste time on reading it, or forget because you want to reread it because it was so good. So I'm gonna go with the latter for this one, although I could say Leo of the Offbeat. Again, to just forget that I read it. I'm gonna go with a book that I would love to reread, and I would love to forget it because I cannot reread it without forgetting it and feel the same things, you know, because it is a thriller. So it's Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I know a lot of people love it. I know a lot of people are not as keen on it because they feel like it was very predictable and it's not like a new idea. To me it was, because I don't read a lot of thrillers, and it deals with, it's basically a guy that gets kidnapped and then has to fight his way back towards his old life and old wife, and oh my god, what a journey. And I was so hooked. But obviously knowing what happens and knowing all of the plot twists and everything, it just is not the same. I can obviously read it again, but it's not the same, so I don't think I ever will. But for that reason I would really like to forget I read this and then go in it blind again to experience the journey. Honestly, I would really recommend you read it if you are into something a bit spooky, creepy, and dark. Not too spooky, just like psychologically spooky, because like, god, if that actually happened, that would be terrifying. Number 8 is Bad Boys. Name your favorite villain. And for this one, I'm actually gonna go with A Court of Thorns and Roses series. And I'm gonna go with Rhysand. I'm gonna show this one up because I just happened to pick it up. But like, I should probably show the first one because this is the second one. This is a character that is painted as a villain to begin with, and then I don't want to say that he wasn't a villain in some people's eyes, because he definitely was, because he has to make choices that he feels unnecessary and had to put up a front of being a bad guy for others' benefit. I don't want to say too much in case you haven't read the series as well, but Rhysand has such a beautiful character development that I think that is why it's my favorite. There are a lot of villains, mostly from Harry Potter, that I was considering and putting in here, but I really tried to avoid Harry Potter in this tag, so I went with that. Number 9 is Missing Parents, one of my absolute biggest pet peeves in some books. Name a book that could have benefited from a bit of parental guidance or adult supervision. So for this one, I'm actually gonna go with Heartless by Marissa Meyer. The parents were actually there. This is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland, but it's actually from a Red Queen's perspective before she turned into a Red Queen. I just I don't know, like the parents in there were so consumed by the idea of her being chosen to marry the king that they completely forgot to actually check in with her. And you know how it all ends, because if you know Alice in Wonderland, you know what Red Queen is and how she is. And that just drove me nuts, because only at the very end, where it was already too late, they were like, can we talk to you? Can we help you? Maybe this is not the most important thing in life. And I'm like, so now you come up with this, like, why? And then I also really wanted to mention the same book that Jess pointed out, and that is Orange. This is a manga. So many things were done in this. I appreciate the topic so much being addressed. This is about a group of high school kids that receive letters from their future selves about one of the people from their clique committing suicide, and they're trying to prevent that. But instead of being honest or like actually seeking some supervision or help or medical advice, they just scramble and I really want to appreciate this manga, but I still cannot get over the fact how much responsibility they place on other people for somebody else's life, and that is never addressed as a thing that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't feel responsible for somebody else's actual life, because that is extremely damaging. It never was addressed, so to me it will always have some sort of bad aftertaste, because I just feel like it sends such a wrong message, especially for younger people who might be going through something similar. I have personally lost a friend to suicide, so I know how damaging these thoughts can be, and I just cannot overlook that. But also, if they just went for some adults, or like, I understand this is a concept that they couldn't really explain, but they could still ask for them and be like, you know, we know that this person is going through something and we know something bad might happen. And it just never happened. It just never happened. But it was still a beautiful story and highlighted how different perspectives can see different things. So we sometimes see the whole scene through the friend's perspective, and sometimes especially in the second tome, we see stuff from his perspective, and the difference in outlook is so massive. It is very interesting to see. And that is everything. And the last point is to tag some people. I really suggest you guys do this tag if you have a blog or Instagram or a YouTube channel, because it's really fun. And if you're watching this and you have some sort of social media outlook, I highly suggest you do this because it's really fun. Don't forget to check out Jess's channel and her original tag, because I thoroughly enjoyed that in every single video of hers. So thank you so much, Jess, for tagging me. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching this. Let me know if you read any of these books and if you agree with my answers at all. Actually, let me know your answers. It would be pretty cool to know, so just answer some of these questions down below if you fancy as well. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!